Ask pretty much anyone how they feel about the state of top tier jets, and most will say they're unhappy for some reason or another. Usually the reason is because top tier matches are just complete chaos with 32 players all fighting in a small area. And some people like the chaos, but it seems most do not. If nothing changes, the issue is only going to get worse with future updates. To get the disclaimers out of the way, I'm only talking about top tier jets in this video, meaning roughly rank 7 and 8. I'm not talking about the lower tier stuff. And I'm not saying this is the only way to go about solving the problem, it's just one possible approach, and it's the one that makes the most sense to me. All of this is just my opinion. I don't want this to come across as a rant. I really like ARB at its core, but I think with some adjustments it could be so much better than it is now. And I'm very familiar with Gaijin, so I don't expect anything to change, but I still think it's fun to speculate and to voice feedback. So I think the root cause of the main problem with top tier jets right now is player density. Too many jets in too small of an area. And over the past 6 months, the rate of power creep has been kinda nuts. The killing power of jets we have right now is quite a bit higher than it was even at the start of the year. For example, the killing potential of just one Su-27 is ridiculous, and we've got up to 32 of these jets in each game. The jets are changing and the game mode is not, and Gaijin said they plan on adding the AMRAAM in the first half of 2024. I don't know about you, but I really don't think we're ready for it as it is right now. The time to start adjusting ARB is now, not 6 months from now when we have over 100 active radar homing missiles in each game all crammed into the same spot. So how do you go about fixing it? The way I see it, there's two possible solutions. The first is to slash player counts down to 8 versus 8 or 10 versus 10 and keep everything else more or less the same. The other approach is to fundamentally change up the ARB game mode and start having large-scale conflicts that play out slower with multiple respawns. These sort of match up with the common opinions you see about ARB. One group of players tends to want smaller maps, fast action, and a focus on PvP, while the other group wants bigger maps, slower action, with more of a focus on PvE. Both of these groups tend to hate each other. With split queue, you would get to play the game mode you prefer whenever you want, or if you're like me and you want both, you can play both. In my opinion, both game modes would have a place in this game. The point of this video is that I think ARB is a popular enough game mode to split into multiple queues, ARB and ARB EC. Hell, look at Naval. Naval already has the normal queue available all week long, and Naval RB EC available in the events tab on weekends. Naval has a fraction the popularity of Air. If Naval can have multiple queues, why can't Air? Except I would want to see ARB EC selectable in the main game mode selection page and available all week long. So for standard ARB, like I said, reducing the player count is really the main thing. They could cut player count to 8 versus 8 or 10 versus 10, which is a very quick and easy fix. I still have my gripes with ARB, like AI ticket bleed, but player count is really the main issue for me right now. That leaves ARB EC. For those of you not familiar with EC or Enduring Confrontation, it's the game mode used by Sim. As the name implies, EC is about large-scale matches, and it isn't a race to see which team can shoot down all of the other team the fastest like normal RB is. So, as for what I would want to see in EC. First of all, long match timers, multiple respawns, and very large maps. For the initial spawn, spread planes out across multiple main airfields. Then for the objectives, this is where they can really make or break this game mode. First of all, I want to see a ton of objectives spread out across the entire map. We've had convoys and light pillbox groups and bombing targets for a decade now, and there's nothing really wrong with them, but there's so much room for Gaijin to innovate when it comes to the variety of objectives on an EC map. And more types of objectives, of varying degrees of difficulty to take out, just means more stuff to do. I'm just gonna start throwing ideas out there. How about early warning radar sites? How about road checkpoints? How about heavily defended strategic targets like bridges, which would allow us to use weapons like GBU-8s and walleyes for their intended purpose? How about more types of mid-map anti-air? And to be clear, I'm not advocating for strong or unfair anti-air, but SAM systems like the SA-3 defending big objectives could actually work in this game mode. And those are the types of air defense that anti-radiation missiles would work well against, unlike the SPAAs we have in ground RB right now. That could open the door for Seed and War Thunder, and it would actually be a viable role to play in ARB, something that would never be possible in the current game mode. And for AI aircraft, they could add vehicles we would never otherwise get to see in War Thunder. The Tu-95 and B-52 would not work as tech tree planes, but they would work as AI planes to intercept or protect. And while we're at it, fix the AI so they can't go 1800 kph at sea level. Again, just throwing stuff out there. My point is, there's a lot of ways Gaijin can innovate with an EC game mode. At the very least, I would like to see them start trying stuff out. Make an experimental game mode, put it in the events tab for a weekend, let players try it, and collect feedback. If it doesn't work, that's fine, try something new next weekend. And the normal queue would still be available for those uninterested. The main counterpoint against multiple queues I can see being brought up is of course queue time, but these would be alleviated by the fact that standard ARB would have far fewer players in each game, and EC could force join in progress for the first 30 seconds or so. And queue times are really fast right now. This is the same company that told you you can't have decompression because of queue times, and then immediately turned around and added another 8 players to every ARB game. I'd wager that most players would happily wait a few more seconds for a more enjoyable game. I'm curious to know what you guys think about a permanent RB-EC game mode. What would you want to see out of it, and whether or not you think you would actually play it. Sorry it took so long to get this video out. I tried to organize my thoughts clearly, but they're all over the place, so I was having a difficult time with this one. Short recap though, what I would personally like to see is small, fast 8v8 games on existing maps, and 12v12 or 16v16 proper EC huge maps with all the objectives to actually support that game mode and make it enjoyable. As always, come hang out on Discord if you want, enjoy your new year, and thanks for watching.